They see the veins popping on the bicep. He's on that trend. He ain't even tried yet. Look at his traps. That's not from deadlifting. He's full of gear, man. You gotta be kidding. I'm just consistent. I'm just dedicated.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on? The community. Yeah, I know. I was like, damn, where's my man been at? Well, Thursday, I took a rest day. Friday, I took a rest day. It was just, instinctive, and I was feeling like, I was feeling good for us to workout that shoulder workout. Man, I was an animal. You know what I mean? But it was real good. But at the same time, Wednesday. See, that was the last one we did. We did shoulders. Yeah, Wednesday. Then I woke up Thursday morning, felt the shoulder routine, and all normal and everything. But when I can tell that I need to take a rest day, it's the systemic part of it. Meaning that the nervous system. That's one. And then it's kind of instinctive. You kind of know. And when I thought about it, we've been pushing, even through changing out machines. We were still doing our thing. And another thing for me, I could tell is when my recovery slows down. Like the first warning sign was after that arm workout. That recovery took a little bit more time. So that was one thing that went on the blip on the radar screen. But I kept pushing. Kept pushing as all true athletes do. So then I had to say, hold up, I'm starting to feel like things that's not conducive to working out. It's kind of hard to explain, but you'll know when you need to take a rest day, and not just because you don't want to work out. You'll tell, and everybody's different. So for me, it was time to take a rest day, and I took two. And it's not going to hurt nothing. We're still good. We're going to do a back routine later on today. Actually, y'all getting two separate videos. This video is going to stand alone because there's a lot of ground I want to cover just here. But we're going to get a back routine in later. So you guys will get two videos. But all right. So this one is going to be evaluation and a review of the whole present. From March to now. What's that, 9 months? Because what we got, January is 10, February is 11. Yeah, 9 months. So this is what this is going to be. And for me to look at myself and see where I can improve at. Like I told you, it's always continuous improvement. Workouts flip from day to day, week to week, or whatever. But it's always the theme of going forward. How can I maximize each workout? So to give you what I came up with and things that I've been looking at and checking myself out, evaluating myself, I haven't been taking enough rest days. I'm pushing as if I was on PEDs, and I noticed that, I'm pushing. When you're natural, you have to fall back. You can easily overtrain. Easily. It's easy, you know what I mean? So especially as hard as we go, the body has to recover. See, that's where the PEDs help you at, because they make you bigger indirectly by allowing you to recover faster so you can go back in there. You notice that, Now, so we've been training as if we're on the PEDs. And it's good for a while, but in the long run, when you're natural, it's going to catch up to you. And since I know this, that would be ignorant of me to keep going. And I know what's down the road. That's leading into injuries. That's leading into overtraining. That's even leading into your mental, because if your mind ain't in it, your body ain't in it. The body follows the mind. So there's a whole array of things that's going down the road that we're not trying to go down. So being a student of the game, as of Mike Jordan, Kobe, Floyd, who else was a student of the game? Mike Tyson, guys who really try to develop their craft all the time, even in their later years. They always try to develop their craft. There's a few others, but those are ones I can think of right now. But what stands out of all them guys, out of Jordan, Kobe, Floyd, and Tyson, is Tyson. Now, reason why Mike stand out a little different from them, because Mike, he studied the art of war. You know what I mean? He went back to the greats. If you can catch his documentary, he goes all the way back to Rocky Marciano, uh, who else? Sonny Liston, and even farther back than that. I mean, I think he even read up on Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan. You know what I mean? Leaders and fearless dudes. You know what I mean? So he took it to another level. That's what set Tyson away. I know that for a fact. That's what Mike did. I'm not sure that Mike Jordan or Kobe or any of them did that. I think they just worked on themselves and left it at that. But Mike Tyson was a true student of the game. So I took a page out of his book. Now, them 2 days that I'd rested, Thursday and Friday, I went and looked into the natural bodybuilders. You know, we always looking at the PED users. Like I told you before, I like the way they look. They cool. My whole game plan is to look like them, but not use the drug. You know what I mean? It still is my game plan. But what I did was I went back in time. I mean, I'm talking 1930s, 1940s, 1950, the silver era of guys. There was no steroids. They come around until 60s, maybe mid 60s and 70s and up. So I'm looking at guys that's from the 40s, the 50s, maybe early 60s. So we're talking about Reg Park. We're talking about Steve Reeves. We're talking about John Grimmick. We're talking about Leroy Colbert. You know, we're talking about Marvin Eldra. We're talking about Lynn Peters. We're talking about Marvin Wells. You know, and there's a couple other guys, but these guys I can just think of right now that I just recently checked out. Now, these guys, there was no steroids around and none of that. And the way they worked out, and you know, I just really dove in for the last 48 hours. I've been a student to the game, and I'm bringing it to you now. I see my era and ways and what I want to mimic. You know what I mean? Well, even though I want to look like I'm on the drugs, but I have to train as if I am a natural dude, which I am. So I have to train that way. And these guys was, I mean, actually, yeah, Eugene Sandow. You know, these guys was Reg Park and Steve Reeves influenced Arnold. You know what I mean? You know, now Arnold was like, he was like a hybrid. He was what the golden era where they was just starting to get into using steroids, you know what I mean? And they cycled off and on. Today, I think guys are on all year round. You know, Arnold and them just like took a punch, see me in 6 months. Took a punch, see me in 6 months, or something like that, whatever the cycle was. So they wasn't on all the time. So Arnold and Franco Columbu, Lou Ferrigno, Albert Beckles, who else was back then? Gene Carney. I mean, you know, them guys, Robbie Robinson, them guys was like in the middle. You know, the era was changing. It was going from non-steroids to getting hip to steroids to dabbling in steroids. And then beyond from them on to now, they, you know, it's just crazy. But anyhow, back to what I was saying. Now the silver era guys didn't know nothing about that at all. And these guys, excuse me, these guys were strong. I think Marvin Eldra, is it Marvin Eldra? Oh, my phone is off. Marvin Eldra, I think it was. He was the first guy to bench 500 pounds plus at 200 pounds. And we're talking about silver era. So it's somewhere in between the 30s and the 40s. You know what I mean? And Eugene Sandow, who Mr. Olympia, that trophy, that was a natural guy. Now, isn't that kind of crazy how all these PEDs and steroid users is trying to win that trophy and that money, but the trophy that they're winning was a natural guy. And you know what I mean? So hey, y'all, natural is the stuff. People we get downplayed, but once again, like I said, everybody want to claim to be natural, even though they juicing and doing their thing. But look at that. The Olympic trophy is a natural guy, a natural strong man. He's not even a bodybuilder. He was a strong man. But let's not get off subject. So these guys, Now the way they trained, they rested. They rested. You know, they went heavy, but they rested. And that's my mistake. I'm not resting enough. You know what I mean? It hasn't hurt me or anything like that. I want to thank goodness that I'm always ahead of the curve. I'm always evaluating. I'm always catching things before they become a problem as of late, you know. So I'm not hurting or anything, but I needed a rest. I knew I needed a rest, you know what I mean? You know, so in order to get better, you got to fall back. As natural guys, it's a real thin line, you know what I mean? And we got to be mindful of that. So now back to these guys. They would train heavy. I mean, Reg Park did 5 sets of 5s. Am I saying about my 5 sets of 6s? You know, he did 5 sets of 5. Lynn Peters, I think he was like that 8 sets of 3s and things like that. You know what I mean? Just that they went heavy. They went heavy and they trained their tendons, because what makes you strong is not the muscle. I mean, it plays a part, but what makes you strong is your ligaments and your tendons. You know what I mean? And if you notice, today, guys, a lot of guys are ripping pecs, tearing biceps because they're focusing on the muscle, but they're not focusing on the tendon or the ligament that's holding it to the bone. You know what I mean? That muscle's no good. If it's ripped from the bone, I don't care how big it is, it's useless, you know. But these guys trained their tendons, they trained their ligaments, and how you do that is through strength training. You know, I mean, they did a lot of heavy lifting, but where I'm looking at is my 4 sets of 8s. I think that's a reasonable, nice, good place to be. You know, and for the smaller muscles, I still have to figure some things out, whatever. But I'm thinking 4 sets of 8. You know, and going to failure is the ticket. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking every other day. You know what I mean? And I'm also going to have to group muscles back together. Like quads and hams being single, it's time to kill that. They got to go together. When I do legs, it got to be strictly legs. So the workout's going to be a little longer, you know, but who cares? I mean, we was doing 15 minutes, 20 minutes average. What's 45 minutes? That's nothing. You know what I mean? Especially when you're trying to accomplish a goal here. So what I'm going to have to do is put quads and hams and calves, whole lower body, all back together. I'm gonna have to do back and biceps together, chest, traps, and triceps together. Back to that. You know what I mean? It's time to go back to that. You know, this way I can do 3 workouts in a week and rest every other day. You know, now doing the rest every other day is cardio, which is still going to be every day. That's not going to change. It's going to be cardio, and it's going to be getting in that sauna. I haven't gotten that sauna in a while, you know. So the off days are going to be working towards the recovery, helping the recovery. I got a jacuzzi that I haven't been in a while, you know. So that's like $6,000 that's not even being used, but we're going to change that. And I will shoot a video, you know, at least a chest up of, you know, so you guys can see. But these are the things I got to start activating. The workouts, we're going hard. Workouts is beautiful. We're doing our thing. You know what I mean? We're doing our thing. I'm not going to change the intensity or none of that. I'm just going to change the frequency, and I'm going to balance it out with recovery. Recovery is not just not working out that day. Recovery is hitting your cardio, you know, either getting in a sauna or the jacuzzi, helping these muscles recover for the next day. You know what I mean? So that'll be every other day. So I'll be 3 times a week, 4 rest days. But don't worry, you guys are still gonna get videos. You know what I mean? Y'all still gonna get videos. I mean, you know, we always got a card talk, you know what I mean, to talk about the day and everything and all that there, you know. But the lifting aspect is gonna be like every other day, and it's gonna be a little longer. So it's still gonna average out. Uh instead of me making a 30 to 25 minute video every day, it'll be more like a 40 minute. We have to see about 40 minutes every other day, and then maybe a 10 or 15 minute video every other day. So the videos are still going to be coming at you because we still got to stay connected, you know. So the videos still going to be coming, but the workouts are going to be every other day. And I think that's going to work out. We got to set up. This is all part of my plan, getting ready for the sophomore year. We only got 3 more months left in this freshman year, because March we start our sophomore year. And like I said, from March to April, that's really crunch time. But we'll that's a whole nother thing. But right now, I'm just setting up for 2026, and we're going to implement this today. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do a back routine today, a back and bicep routine today. You know, so that's what's been going on. That's what I wanted to get you guys, touch you guys what was up. I didn't want to leave you in the dark. I was going to do a couple of car talks on Thursday and Friday, but I figure I'll sit down and talk to you, you know what I mean, and let you know what's going on, and not have to concentrate on the steering wheel, but really give you all my attention, you know. So that's where we're at. And I would say, if you're feeling something, or something you should be always trying to improve, you know, let's keep that in mind. You guys should always be trying to improve yourself, continuous improvement, you know. So it'll help you in the long run, and it's part of the vehicle. I mean, you don't put gas in your car one time, right? You got to keep gassing it up. Every time it get empty, you got to keep gassing it up, or half or hard, or whatever. You got to keep it moving. So that's what we got to do, keep it moving. And a lot of things them guys did besides heavy, they stuck to the basics. They didn't get into the different type of movements. They stuck to the basics. So we got to do that too. We got to go back to the basics. Lat pull downs, rows, bend over rows, T-bar rows, bench, chest flies, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. We got to just stick to the basics. But what they did with the basics, they took their basics to the extreme. You know what I mean? They worked the shit out of the basics. I'm cool with that. But a lot of them guys, that's where we're at. Also, you got to get in your lane. You got to run your race. And our race is not with the PED dudes. You know what I mean? No offense, but well, at least with me, I don't know what you guys could be doing, but I'm assuming that we're on the same page. And if we are, we need to lean more towards the natural guy. Natural guys was first. Let's put it like that. The silver era, and with the bronze, silver era, the golden era is where the PED dudes start coming into the game. But the silver, am I saying that right? The silver, I guess it went backwards, because gold is always, the gold, the Olympic, that's always first. But in this situation, it's not. It was the silver era. So, and the natural guys was first. We was first. Can't nobody take that away from us. We was first. We started all this. You know what I mean? So look into them guys. Look into them guys. Them guys is decent. You know what I mean? And then it sets you up for reality. The way they look is achievable. It's achievable. Even though I'm trying to not look like them and look like the other guys, but I'm definitely going to work out like them. You know what I mean? And believe it or not, the PED dudes work out like them. They just got help. We're going to do the same thing without help. We're going to do the same thing with what we're born with. You with me? That's what we're going to do. How about that? And if you're ashamed, now this is just me, if you are ashamed of what your natural ability is, go get you a needle then, man. I ain't mad at you. People do BBLs. They got the GLP-1 shots, even though that's more for like medical and help with diabetes and stuff. So I really can't knock that. But far as aesthetics and want to look a certain way, go get that shot. And something else with the silver era guys, they put health first. Today we're looking at, size, cosmetics, you know what I mean? Whereas the silver dudes, their first and foremost thing was health, and then came big muscles and strength and everything and all that there. So, like I said, I've been studying the last 48 hours. I took a crash course on the history. Even I knew some things, I just know these guys' names. I didn't look into all that, you know what I mean? And then look at these guys and really looked at each one individual. What I did was I looked at everybody, or the most people I could find in the silver era, and I seen what they had in common. And I looked up on each and every one of them and found out what they all had in common. And it was heavy and rest days. They ate healthy. They ate the same way as we do today, healthy, whole foods and everything, but they had rest. They took a lot of rest days, you know. But the way they was working out, you needed to take the rest days, you know. So it's acceptable rest because you work. Like you're gonna see today, you know what I mean? Like this the second video is gonna be back in biceps. You're gonna see. You're gonna see because now that I'm tuned in and turned on and know what I gotta do, you know, and apply that pressure, push on that gas pedal a little bit more, you're gonna see the difference from what we've been doing to what we're gonna start doing. So that's about it, guys. You know, not much. Just want to keep you updated, let you know what's going on, and we're gonna go ahead and get into this. You know what I mean? We're gonna go ahead and get into this. So this is the first video, and then I'm gonna shoot the regular video with a lifting routine. So you'll get 2 today is Saturday. You'll get 2 tomorrow. So I guess it'll be a makeup for the 2 days that I didn't shoot. But whatever. But that's all I got. So let's get ready. Let's knock this year out. Let's do our thing. And I'll see you in a little while. I gotta make a couple runs. I'll see you in a little while for for the new style or the revamped style, or whatever you want to call. But the next level, let's say it like that, the next level of what we're about to where we're going. All right.